Hello and welcome. Andy from Twisted Narrative here, and boy, am I excited for this. We are about to do Candela Obscura, Critical Role's new game, currently with the quick start rules, hopefully the full core coming out at the end of the year, and I'm fascinated and excited for it for a number of reasons. And I've managed to draw in these wonderful people to bring the Fairlands, New Haven, New Fair, sorry, alive. So before we continue though, this is a horror game and it's very important. I've spoken to the players here and I'm aware of all of their lines and veils, but if horror is not your thing, it is perhaps best to switch off or just be prepared that we don't know how deep we are going to go. Obviously, we're not going to cross any of the lines and veils of our players, but they've got not many of them. So we'll see. They shock me, do our players sometimes. Um, oh, Liz has just, that's it. Liz is out, and she's back. Um, As you can tell, with technology of this, we don't have the budget of the Critical Role cast, but we will do our very best to A, tell an entertaining story, and B, demonstrate how the rules work from Kickstart, the quick start rules, that is. Of course, we've only read those. I'm filling in the gaps and using experience I've got with other systems that are similar to try and bring everything together. So, without further ado, let us introduce our players for tonight. And I always start in this top corner, which isn't you tonight, Natascha. So, Liz, hello, welcome to the table.
Hi, very happy to be here, thanks. Um, I've been playing role playing games for about 20 years, which is kind of shocking when I sit back and think about it. I started on text based games set in sort of Middle Earth, had a foray into World of Darkness and came to D&D later on. And now looking for other systems to enjoy and saw the things about Candela and thought that sounds like my sort of game. So here I
Yeah,
am.
I mean, you mentioned World of Darkness, and there is a Susan, there is a feel of that with this, as there is with many other sort of systems. It's very much a mixture of all of my favourite things kind of blended into a perfect dish. So I'm very much looking forward to this. And move across to you, Jocelyn.
Hello, my name is Jocelyn. I do things backwards. So actually, I started playing role-playing games, D&D mostly, during lockdown. As soon as it started, I was invited into a game and then got completely hooked and play games, most nights of the week. And then I started watching Critical Role and became a massive critter.
Yeah, I
Had to
mean,
wear one of my shirts.
uh, we all are. I mean, we love.
Yeah.
I've was very lucky to start at the very beginning. So
Yes.
yeah, I've literally grown with them. So massive fan. This is what
Uh,
I'm super excited about tonight.
I'm jealous of you for having started at the beginning. So for Candela Obscura, I had watched it on the Twitch rerun because, of course, we're in the UK, not my native California, where they are, and had watched it within the first 24 hours. And this is my third play already, but it's only been out a week.
Yeah,
So I'm extremely pleased.
yeah, and it's funny. I normally watch all of their content, but I've deliberately not watched this for the moment. I didn't want to skew the way that I might do it. I've got ideas. You all know that I do love my urban supernatural stuff, which is just perfect. So I kind of want to give my sort of feel and spin, and I'm going to be really interested to see whether it's a similar vision that they've got or whether it's slightly different. I mean, we make this world our own. Every table is different and every game will be different. And I didn't really want to be trying to replicate or being sort of sort of prompted that, oh yeah, must try and do it that way instead. So it's going to be interesting. And if you are watching and you've kind of watched the crit roll one, please put comments in below. Be nice, please be nice. But we're obviously not performers, so we're going to approach it slightly differently. We want to tell a great story. We do want to role play, but we're also going to be looking at the rules, and hopefully if you have just picked up the quick start rules and you're unsure about them, hopefully the way that we go through this actual play might help you get a grasp on it if you are new to this kind of system. Last but not least, Natascha.
Hi, I'm Natascha. Natascha on Dutch. I'm from the Netherlands. I work for the Dutch government, so I'm a civil servant. I don't do voice acting or any other sort of acting, and I've been playing role-playing games since about 2014, so nearly 10 years now. And I started with Shadowrun, and I've never played or watched Candela Obscura before, so really excited to see how this turned out. And I'm also unfamiliar with the setting. I've not played in steampunk-like Victorian London type settings before.
Perfect. I mean, exactly the kind of player I want. If we're going to road test this, having someone that has never played before is the perfect litmus test for those of you that are out there. So, sorry, audience. I wanted to introduce our cast, if we can call them that, our players, and talk a little bit about it. But you are probably here to see how the game plays, here to see how the rules work, and see what kind of story we will come up with. So without further ado, let us lower the lights and raise the Candela Obscura. The Fairlands. In the northern country of Hale lies the fertile valley known as the Fairlands. For over a decade, the world has grappled with the effects of a fierce, cold snap known as the Shiver. While many countries face shorter growing seasons and food shortages, the relatively temperate valley of the Fairlands provides for the Halian citizens. Unfortunately for the people of this region, the land and its resources are highly sought after. When they're not defending their borders from invasion, they're catching their breath before the next attack. It was about 3 years ago that the last Great War came to an end, and the main city in the Fairlands, known as New Fair, has suffered greatly. The war took its toll, but the people of the Fairlands are resilient, and they have rose to the occasion, taking in refugees from the war-torn surrounding areas. But there has been a large number of soldiers returning. Unemployment is still a struggle. So whilst they put this veneer upon them of everything is okay, there is an underbelly of unsettlement, displeasure with fighting, and returning to the city, the country that they fought for, and having their jobs taken. But there is also another veneer beneath that. There is something strange, something mysterious that occurs throughout the world. Very few people are aware of it, but you are. You've all suffered at the hands of it, individually, a mystery in your life, some horror that perhaps you want to put to bed or forget about, but it still nags at you. So rather than running, you have sought to face it full on, seeking out those that could help you, give you answers. One of those people is Dr. Solomon Sable. He resides in the Eaves, the exclusive upscale community perched atop roofs of exposed old-farian buildings. The district is exceedingly wealthy and exclusive. You've all done contract work for him individually before, and in return you have received snippets of information that has tantalized you to get closer to solving the various mysteries that surround you. But for the very first time, he has invited you to his residence, and this is where you find yourselves now, in his very well decorated and appointed sitting room. There is a low table and very high comfortable sofas. His butler, Grimes, standing there tall, gaunt, watching over your every need. And of course there is the man himself, Dr. Sable, devilishly handsome, goatee beard, black, his hair slicked back, greying at the temples, a smile that could melt the hearts of, well, anybody he chose, and eyes as dark and as deep as the vast chasm. But these two you're familiar with. You are not familiar with each other. This is the first time that you have actually met. So, Synphonie, as the others look at you and Dr. Sable looks at you, what would they see?
They would see a youngish woman, probably early 20s. She's about 5'2" and looks like a strong breeze could carry her away. She's got very pale skin, dark hair, dark eyes. She's quite fashionably dressed, actually. Maybe not this season, maybe a couple of seasons ago. She's got a couple of big strings of pearls, often wears a hat with a big hat pin sticking through it. She watches the room quite warily, and then occasionally seems to fixate on small details like the brass stud in a thickly upholstered chair or a little curio on a shelf, that kind of thing. She's quite wary seeming.
And this room is full of wonders. It's the kind of room that you kind of look at a painting and it's a nice piece of art, and then you notice something that is just not quite right with it. Maybe the perspective, maybe the colouring, and your eyes flit around this room, but they also catch upon to the other two individuals that are here. And Eva, what would be seen with you?
For Eva, you see a woman about 35 years old, very composed in this setting. She doesn't seem nervous or wary, sipping her tea quite comfortably. She's wearing a maroon outfit with a white shirt, and it's the kind of outfit that also is like maybe a year or two out of date, not as stylish as Synphonie, more of like the sort of clothes that a hard to say working woman at that time period, but you know, a woman who has something to do in the world, engages with the world, would wear. But it could be that she would be the lowest ranking person in a high ranking place, or the highest ranking person in a low ranking place. And she can be very composed and very authoritative, or she can slink into the shadows. Her hair, her brown hair, is in a twist that she can in an instant undo, be frazzled and huddled, or do up very elaborately, very much a chameleon.
interesting. And are you paying attentions to anything in particular, or just
I have
enjoying the high tea that you have been offered?
I'm very friendly, approachable, keeping my eye on both the ladies here, just seeing what kind of vibe I'm getting from them.
Okay. And our third and final guest is Mary. What would the camera pick up if it focused upon you?
Mary definitely looks out of place in the setting and compared to the other two women next to her. Definitely a country gal, dressed in sturdy leather clothes, the stock of a long gun strapped to her back, poking out above her shoulder, big floppy wide brimmed hat, very suntanned, and the way she looks at the room is more to see if there's possible danger. Not that she expects it here because she's met Solomon before, but definitely, yeah, based in reality. And if she would to open her mouth, she's definitely not from the city. She's, as I said, rural. Will speak with a different accent than the people around her.
Perfect. Dr. Solomon Sable looks at you all. He smiles. He seems to be very pleased that you've all arrived. You know that he's always taken you under his wing, tried to help you with solving your personal mysteries as best as he could. But there's always been something that seems to have been holding him back somewhat. You've all sort of felt this, that he wanted to do more, but was being prevented by something. He smiles and says, well, isn't this just a delight? Um, you haven't met, so introductions are perhaps in order before I speak. Who would like to go first? Um, he kind of looks at you, Eva.
Put down my teacup and its saucer down on the table. My name is Eva Cartwright. Very pleased to make your acquaintance.
Who would answer that?
I will. Synphonie reaches for a delicate biscuit off the tray where the teacups and things are. Actually, she takes two, one from the saucer and one for in her hand as she's talking. Synphonie Havisham, it's a pleasure.
Leaving only one other person for introduction.
Hi all, Mary McLaughlin. Not quite sure what the doctor wants me to have to do, but very nice to meet your acquaintances.
Oh,
Well,
Mary, where are you from?
I'm not from the city. I grew up on the Tottergrass area, so.
Oh, sounds lovely.
well, to business then. As you know, I've always tried to help you as best as I can, but there has been something holding me back, and I've been authorized now, should you want to move forward, to make you an offer. The consultancy work that you have been doing for me has been a test of sorts, and you have all passed with flying colours. I represent a society, one that isn't particularly well known. They go by the name Candela Obscura. They like to look into mysteries such as your own individual ones, and well, keep the light burning and the darkness at bay, as it were, really. And something has come across my desk that, well, it requires a few individuals to come together and investigate it. And I'm hoping that I've made the right choice here. The three of you, I think, will work perfectly together one way or the other. And if you can do this assignment, then the resources of Candela Obscura will be at your pleasure to be able to look deeper into the things that trouble you. How does that sound?
Mary just nods, doesn't say anything.
That sounds agreeable, but can I have another biscuit? It's fallen in my tea.
Oh, of course. They are rather nice as well. I have to be careful of my own waistline. Eva.
Eva's going to look the doctor in the eye and say, we all have issues like this, and you can help us further?
I mean, one of the reasons why is the work that we do is, well, it's kept out of the sight. Otherwise, we would have many enemies, those that seek to do ill. You're all aware there is much more that goes unseen, and we investigate such issues. Candela Obscura has a large number of resources that, well, you'll be able to access as a member.
I'm going to look a little bit more closely at Synphonie and at Mary and say, well, I'm sorry for whatever brought you into my company, but glad to have you in it. Yes, please.
Oh, splendid. And then the deal is done, as we say. Your first assignment is relatively straightforward. A little bit of a mystery, but shouldn't prove too challenging. There's an individual that we've been keeping an eye on. He disappeared more or less 2 years ago. We lost track of him, but he has, well, come into prominence again, a phoenix rising from the flame, perhaps. This individual, his name is Armand Boyd. A curious fellow. He has crossed our desks a number of times during the war. Prior to that, when he went out on the glass sea with a number of vessels trawlering, and just before he disappeared, he was accused of murder. So, as I say, he's made a prominent return, and this has made the organisation feel somewhat uncomfortable. I've got a file here, and he kind of passes across a file and puts it onto the table. This is background information for you to have a look at. It's not so much about what has happened here, it's what he is up to now we are interested in. Be warned though, he has a rather foul temperament. Any questions so far?
Why is he of interest?
Well, as I say, there's been a number of incidents where he has been in what we would consider unusual happenings. Now, whether it is coincidental or whether it is down to him has yet to be proven. But the very fact that he was accused of murder 2 years ago seemed to go into hiding, and now has risen from the flame. He's about to open quite a high-profile restaurant out down in the dock areas in Hallow Harbour. He has purchased a rather expensive abandoned lighthouse on one of the docks, He's having it fully refurbished. It's going to take about a week till it's fully operational. And he is serving some food that comes from across the sea. It's a mince meat sort of thing that is wrapped in a sort of a flatbread of sorts, according to the flyers anyway. So that is why he's of interest. We just want to see how he's managed to get into the position that he's in, whether there is anything supernatural happenings around him. Intelligence gathering, basically.
And this murder he was accused of, I'm struggling to remember his name in the papers. What
Yes,
was
it
the
was
circumstance of that?
all sort of a cover-up of sorts. It was in the Varnish. You might be familiar with quite a high-profile eatery called the Revisionary, fine dining and drinks. The details are in there, but it's 6904 Sapphire Street, the Varnish, New Fair. He was making a name for himself as a chef there, and there was one of the captains of the of the periphery that was poisoned there. We seem to believe there was quite a big cover-up. So there's a lot of information that seems to not really add up. Maybe getting to the bottom of that might answer some questions, perhaps. It is certainly a lead. That was 2 years ago. About
The
a year.
periphery
The periphery, yes.
covering up their own ineptitude again, I assume.
Well, it is difficult to say. I mean, as well as the things that are unseen, as we're all aware of, there is a degree of social unrest. There is conflict between those that are coming back from the war, even 3 years on, and not finding proper jobs. There is the triumvirate, the ascendancy, the primacy, and the periphery that are slowly but surely ensuring all of those people are in control of the city. It is a powder keg that we sit upon. I smell revolution in the air. Certainly crime is rife in some areas of the city. It's what happens when you send men and women to war with guns and teach them how to fight. When they come back and they've got nothing better to do and no lives to lead, well, they put what they have learned from the government to good practice, do they not?
Mary nods
Indeed,
from experience.
I
indeed
thought
they
the smell
do.
in the air was just cut grass. Who knew?
So it's an awkward situation. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with the paperwork. Please help yourself to tea and biscuits. Grimes here will fetch you more if you need to. Take as long as you want with the information, and be about the assignment. The sooner you manage to bring the right information in, the more free time you'll have to do your own individual investigations about your personal issues.
Are you anticipating us bringing you simply information, or Boyd himself, or?
Well, I mean, you do not have any authority to arrest him, but if you find it necessary to act on any information that you have in a matter of urgency or the like, please do. Don't hold back. You are acting on behalf now of Candela Obscura, though, so you need to make sure that the people don't notice your activities. The less people that become aware of the things they should not be aware of, the better. And we have no legal recourse, believe me. If the periphery could stop us doing what we do, I'm sure they would.
You know me, discretion is not exactly my middle name, but high on my priority list.
I think that is a perfect way of perhaps sharing your skill sets as well as going over the information. I've got another appointment now. He kind of pulls out a pocket watch and looks at it and says, but as I say, if you need any refreshments, Grimes will be at your service.
Thank you.
And with that, he kind of politely bows to you all, very, very gentlemanly, and sort of leaves. A few moments later, you hear him pull his walking stick out of the holder at the door, him put his overcoat on and head out into the city proper. Grimes just stands there, kind of waiting, tall, gaunt. His suit just about fits him. But he doesn't get involved unless you ask him to fetch you more refreshments. So it is over to you.
Mary leans forward to the folder with all the information and quickly skims through it and pulls out all the pages that have to deal with location, where they are, how to get there, that sort of stuff. And then we'll offer the folder to either of the two people next to her.
Synphonie jumps up like she's got a spring in her bottom and hurries over to the papers, and she's sort of looking at them, but she doesn't touch them, but she hovers her hands over them as if somehow she's going to like absorb something that way, and then she pulls her hands back. So, where are we going to first?
Are you one of these people who can take in different information, different feelings, different ways of gaining knowledge, like you just did, Synphonie?
Yes, it's been something of a blessing and a curse at times. I can see things that other people can't see, and I always thought they could, but apparently no, that's just me, it seems. I often pick up on colours or sounds or some strange clue that something's not right.
Hmm.
So
I have met a few people like you, but not many. How fascinating. What did you gather from this?
I don't know. This would be a good opportunity to roll, wouldn't it? Let's see what I can gather.
Wow. Okay. I mean, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, this is just hovering over the information that has been gathered.
Is there any strange trace of anything on the papers?
I mean, it's unlikely. This is just paperwork, but if you were kind of reskinning, I'm more than happy for you to have a special way of picking up information and reading it by, sort of absorbing the information if you wish.
I think I could potentially use my focus to try and see if I can see any sort of patterns amongst any little snippets that might leap out from sort of the location files that Mary was looking at, if I can see any sort of correlation or anything like that.
Perfect. So, first roll of the game. You're playing a weird. I'm going to go through all this for the audience so that they know what the process is. Apologies if you already know, but it's a good practice to go. So you're playing a weird, and you've got 2 dots in focus, and it is also got a gilded dice symbol by the side of it. So the first question that I ask, are you just wanted to roll those 2 dice, or do you want to increase your dice pool?
I think at present, this early on in the story, I'm happy with just rolling the 2 dice that we've got there and see what comes up.
Okay. So Yep, just roll the 2 dice. One of those dice will be a gilded dice as well, and we'll come into that after you roll. Okay, now the question is, what colour is your gilded dice? I trust you.
The gilded dice will be the silver one.
The silver one. Wow. Okay. So you got a 1 and a 6. The numbers on the dice indicate successes or failures. You only need one. You only read one number unless it's double sixes, which is a critical success. 1 to 3 is a complete failure and can result in some kind of mark against you. A 4 and 5 is a success, but with a potential complication, and a 6 is a complete success. If you choose to, because this was a gilded action, you could choose a failure, which would be your gilded dice with a 1, and if you did that, you could restore your drives. Now, you've not used up any drives at the moment, so there's no point doing that. But that was a very interesting choice there of, do you want to fail this and increase your drives, or refill your drive, or gain a drive back, or do you want to take a success? I'm assuming, but it's not my place to assume. I shall ask you, what dice would you like to choose?
We'll take the success, please.
I think that's a very sensible thing. So, analysing this with the rest of the group as well, it's mainly historical information. There are a number of locations that you could potentially visit that are within the city as well. It's a fairly full file on everything that is known. He was born in 1869. When he was a sort of when he turned into adulthood, let's say, because he worked from a very, very young age here anyway. But when he was considered to be an adult, he joined the whalemen, the trawlers that went out on the sea. And this isn't standard fisherman. This is going out to deep sea and attempting to capture these really large leviathans. He did that until the war started in 1898, and he instantly signed up for the war effort. There is a period of time during that there seems that he had a very bad temperament, and it seems that there was a number of times on his vessel that he has been reported to have caused a fight or been in a fight constantly in the brig. The only reason why they kept him on is that he was very strong and very talented at doing his job. There is an area during that time within the file that's not so much redacted. It kind of your senses sort of pick up that something happened, something unusual happened, and it speaks of an island where there should not be an island, but it's all it's all with your 6 feels covered up. It feels like it hasn't really truly been reported either properly or sort of ignored. There are scant hints of that, but beyond that, nothing else. Then he joined the army, choosing to putting himself forward, and that was in 1898. And it's pretty much similar story, that he was a very good soldier, although got himself into a number of fights with his own men. So much so that he was, he assaulted an officer, and in 1903, he got demoted to the lowest rank he could be, and that was basically an army chef. They still wanted to keep him around for some reason, but they just wanted to keep him away from sort of any of the other men. The war ended in 1904, and he seemed that he excelled as an army chef, and he got employed by the revisionary in 1904, and he sort of worked for about a year there. And again, according to this file, the story is very similar. He worked his way up. He was quite skilled, but both staff, those below him and those in charge of him, didn't particularly like him at all. He was very vocal, and again, you get the impression kind of maybe a bully or very, very angry. Then the murder happened, and again, there was an incident, as they call it. Someone died, whether it was truly a murder or not. But it seems that all the fingers pointed at him, and he disappeared before anything could be done. Seems there was a big cover-up. There was a certain captain from the periphery that died during that time. There's some legal notes in his defence sort of saying that it was a cover-up and they did this to blame him and get rid of him. It sounds very full of paranoia. And then all trace was lost of him for 2 years until now, when it is 1907. He should be aged round about 35, and he seems that he has started up this new business. There is the location of that business, and down in the dock area called Hallow Harbour. It's a very expensive endeavour. This would have taken a large amount of bankroll to ensure that this could happen. The lighthouse was all but derelict, and it's been refurbed. It's being done in all finery as well. No expense is spared. You sort of can look at the file, and there's a number of sort of receipts that have been collected to sort of indicate all of the materials that are used. So in terms of locations, looking through that, you could head down to the Hallow Harbour, potentially speak with the trawler men, see if anybody remembers them. You could head to the revisionary, ask questions there. You can go and scout out the tower, the lighthouse, and see whether you can pick up anything there. Or if you've got contacts or any skills that you've got, you can bring those to the fore as well. So you don't feel that you need to be pushed in any of those directions. But there are a number of very strong avenues for you to begin to investigate him. What you are particularly tasked with is finding out what he's up to now and who's bankrolling him. So it's not so much investigate his past more, but his past might lead to what he's doing now. Who knows? So with that very good 6, a lot of information uncovered there, but you think the files themselves have told you all they can possibly do.
So it seems he has this history of bad temper and disappearances. He sort of comes up to the fore and then disappears again. And maybe if we go down to the docks, we've got potential contacts with people on the boats, the whaling boats. And I think that was near where his new business venture is, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
the
indeed.
same district. Sorry, Eva.
Perhaps we should take a casual stroll past this lighthouse on our way.
Sounds like a plan to me. I always did like the seaside, you know.
Yeah, and have a look at the menu and see if we can afford it.
Okay, so it sounds like a decision made. You begin to make your way through the streets. Would any of you have enough coin to hire a carriage, or are you going to walk?
I would have enough coin, and I wouldn't be adverse to it, but I would quite like to walk because of my connections.
Okay. So, is that okay with the other two of you? Do you raise any kind of issues for this? It's quite a distance. It's going to take you about a good hour.
No, I'm happy with walking. I think going in a carriage might make too much of a big statement, especially going down to the docks, I think, where there's rough and ready sailors. We might stand out a bit too much if we trundle along in a horse and carriage.
Okay. So you
You have
set
you have
off.
a good head on your shoulders, Symphony.
You set off and you move through the city, New Fair, very urban. Um, it's bustling, it's busy, but as you're all aware, it is this varnish. You're currently in the Eves, the very wealthy area, and you are all very aware that this is a moment. All of this finery, the polite talk, the eating in various uh, uh, sort of bakeries and patisseries, um, the drinking of tea, taking the air is mainly restricted to this area. You soon leave and things go downhill. Still bustling, but these are the working folk, the folk that make New Fair what it truly is. And eventually you get down to Hallow Harbour and it's busy. There are ships coming in and out of the many quays, coming into dock. There is cargo being loaded and unloaded. There is fishing vessels and some of the great trawlers that go out and hunt these very large sort of whales. But before you even get chance to go and speak with any of the whalemen, you can see it from a distance at the end of one of these piers, the large lighthouse, now with the light being tested, sort of illuminating, even though it's daytime. You imagine what it's going to be like at night. And the whole of this thing is there is fine metalwork, enameled. There is beautiful stone polished. It seems strange for this area that this beacon, this lighthouse is here with this amount of money spent on it. It would be far better perhaps in the Varnish or elsewhere. But this seems to be the location that Armand Boyd has chosen. It's easy enough to walk down the pier. There's people coming backwards and forwards. The pier is large for you to get a good look at it. You see that various supplies are being carried to it and from it.
Do I notice if they're coming from like a certain warehouse or quay, the supplies? Do I see like a string of wheelbarrow men or carts and horses coming from the docks to the lighthouse?
Wow, it's very busy. So I think we're going to have a roll for that. What archetype character are you playing?
I'm an explorer, so muscle.
Muscle. Okay.
This would be survey, I think.
So
Search, track, and spot.
I'm more than happy with that. It looks like you don't have any intuition drives though. So that would just be 2 dice, is that right?
Yeah.
Now, before you roll though, this is a cooperative game. If people do have drives in intuition and you wish to help Mary sort of scan the area, then you can only give 1 drive to Mary, but that would increase the dice pool. And just as a reminder, the way that we're running this is that Mary has decided to do this, but this is for the group as a whole as well. Whatever Mary does now, succeed or fail, will give you as a group an answer. Somebody else won't be able to do it until a later date.
Yeah, I will basically have stopped the 2 of them and says, hold on a moment. I would like to see if I can track down the warehouse or the ship where these supplies come from that are going into the lighthouse.
Okay, so does anybody want to? You need to have intuition dice in your drives to be able to donate it.
I will realize that that my boot is twisted. I've twisted my ankle, and I need to go fuss with it. So I've got no drive to give you.
No, that's fine.
I will help. I will see if I can, I'll sort of pause next to her and see if I can lend some of that sort of, so in a similar way that I was looking for patterns in the document, seeing if I can spot something about the movements of the carters and the dockside workers in a different way that she might have missed.
Perfect.
So I will lend her a point.
So reduce your intuition drive by 1, which means your survey is now at 3 dice.
Should I roll them now?
Yeah, please. Okay.
5.
Choose a 5. Now a 5 is a success, but with a complication. And there's quite a few carts and dockmen and people going backwards and forwards, and there's people walking up and down this pier taking a look at the lighthouse. So it's busy. You manage to sort of look around, and as you do, you at first don't see anything, and you sort of sigh and you turn back to Synphonie to speak with her, and you just slam into someone that is carrying quite a big box. You look at him, he looks at you, he says, sorry miss. He pauses for a moment and then carries on, and you kind of look at him, you look where he came from, and you notice a wagon that is unmarked, and it looks like he's carrying something to the warehouse as you watch him sort of move up there. Now you succeeded, but they have noticed you as well. They don't know you're up to anything at the moment, but they've got a good idea of you. If anything should happen, that is the consequence or complication. So it's the wagon itself. I'll just quickly describe it. It's nondescript, which is unusual because most of the wagons around here, they put their signage on it because they want to advertise, they want to do business. This is unmarked. There is no signage from which warehouse or which retailer it's from or which supplier. It's also quite a low wagon, and it's got quite a heavy tarpaulin sort of pulled tight over it. It's got 2 dray horses, and there is an individual that is just kind of sitting there making sure that the horses are okay. Sorry, Eva.
I was going to, sorry.
That's okay.
I was going to see if I could find one of my little urchiny helpers around the area, or see if I could find somebody who knew of me in my sort of professional
Yep.
guise and get them to help out.
Okay, so what are you doing here mechanically? Again, I'm all for the cinematic, but to help people who are watching,
Yes.
is there a mechanical way you want to do it, or is it more cinematic? This is my background, and we'll lean into that.
Yeah. So yeah, just so everyone knows, Eva is Eva the Arranger Cartwright, and she's a slink, which is a specialty criminal. So she knows the underbelly of the city.
Yeah.
So I would like to roll a sway roll to, find the nearest urchin and see if I can
Okay.
convince him of my standing and the benefits to him of helping out.
Okay. That sounds good. So you want to roll sway. It doesn't look like you haven't got much dice in that. There's only a 1.
No, but my best ones are read and hide.
Yeah.
Hard, yeah.
But you
Hard
do
to
have 1,
show.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, you could roll 7
I got
dice.
5.
You could roll 7 dice to get.
Mary could help out as well because of her full-time job, she's basically organizing research caravans out to ruins outside the city. So she would be familiar with Teamsters, wagons for hire, coaching hires, and all that sort of stuff. So she would be familiar with Teamsters and companies that hire out wagons.
Perfect.
Oh, Mary, that's excellent. Well, let me see if I can find someone who isn't us, who blends in a little bit more, and get them to do the dirty work.
Okay.
Perhaps we should have stolen from somebody's washing line or something. We could have had a bit of dress up and blended in a bit more. Do you think I could pass as one of those little street girls?
Maybe, but you have quite a way about you. You don't have the sort of. It's a good thing. I hate to be judgmental, but you don't have the sort of urchiny slouch, and I would be terrified if anything were to happen to you, because you don't have maybe the street smart. I hope you don't have the street smarts.
Maybe dress up another time then. Let's.
Yes.
Are you all right there, Mary? I saw you nearly run into that guy with the big crate thing.
Oh yeah, no problem. I'm quite sturdy.
That's a relief. That's a relief. But maybe I would say maybe a hat's quite distinctive. But yes, hat. I too have a big hat, so not worry too much about them right now.
Okay. So Eva, it seems that Mary is donating one of her cunning drives to you.
Right.
So that gives you 2 dice unless you want to spend more.
And I will spend one of my drives.
So that makes 3 dice.
Alrighty.
Oh, wow. Wow. I mean, what can we say? Triple sixes.
I'm the devil.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for watching. Eva has solved the game by hiring an urchin to find out all the information. It was fantastic fun whilst it lasted. No, that is splendid. Cinematic narrative to you. I mean, this is the perfect situation. So, in your own mind, Eva, how would this be perfect? How would everything fall in place?
So the perfect way that things would fall into place is I would tuck my head around the nearest alleyway and see one of my best little lieutenant scouts, and
Yep.
and they would start to duck away, and I'd go, hey, it's me.
Okay,
And
now because you've rolled this, I'm going to give you a named NPC. This is one that I've already created.
Ooh.
They're called Nox. That's Knox. First name opportunity. And they're kind of sorry.
Oh, so no, go ahead.
Did you get that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're kind of a little bit genderless. It's you know they're youngish, but you don't know whether they're a boy or a girl. But they are very good at what they do. And it's like, yeah. What do you need? So
Knox, it's really,
carry on.
it's wonderful to find you here. This is amazing. You haven't gotten any sort of tip off to come here for any particular reason, have you?
Oh, yeah, I'm always always at your skirts wherever you need me. I'm always about.
I know I can rely on you, Knox. So, got a little extra job for you, and it has to do with that crazy lighthouse. I wonder if you could talk to my friend Mary here, because we're looking for some very specific stuff having to do with this wagon and stuff like it that's going to the lighthouse. So maybe she can fill you in on the details about what to look for. If you could trace it back to its source and come find me, but really keep a low profile.
As you wish. Should be able to do this, no problem. They scratch their head. They've basically got like a number one. It's like a fine sort of buzz cut on their head, and you sort of notice that there's a very strange tattoo on the side of their head. It's kind of like almost a set of numbers, kind of all. I think you can make it out 666 or something like that. But I'm sure that's nothing to worry about. That was what you rolled, wasn't it? Yeah. There we go then. Yeah, but I mean, we don't need to worry about that so much. So Knox comes across to you again, rubs their nose. Mary, is it?
Yeah, sure.
Eva wants me to do some work for you. What you after?
See if you can locate where this wagon comes from without being noticed by the people at either on the wagon or at the warehouse or ship at the other end.
So you want me to follow the wagon back to its place? Yeah.
Yeah, they're supplying the lighthouse, and I would like to know if the warehouse is connected to the lighthouse, basically.
Yeah, we'll do. And with that, they almost vanish. You only see that the tarpaulin kind of rises somewhat as they very rapidly have hidden in the wagon itself. They will get back to you as soon as they can, really. We don't need to spend a lot of time. You kind of watch, you see that the person carrying the big crate sort of comes back and gets onto the wagon and it begins to set off. And kind of very strangely, it looks like it's heading away from, Hallow Harbour, rather than doing another drop off somewhere else. It looks suspicious with what you discovered, and perhaps you are most definitely onto something. But you've got your best agent, Eva, on the job at the moment. So while you're waiting for Knox to report back, you have an opportunity to do some more investigation should you wish to. Is there anything else you particularly want to do in this location, or do you want to move elsewhere?
I think having sort of got this little bit of a lead on this strange unmarked wagon, I would like to see if I can sense anything occult or supernatural going on. I'm going to alert my friends, I'm going to call them my friends here with me, that let's just step out of the way for a little bit. I want to try something, see if I can sort of, they do call me Synphonie, they're sensitive for a reason, as you suggested. And if we can find like somewhere behind some crates or some barrels or something, I'm gonna
It's very busy here, very
yeah,
easy to do.
a little place where I can just be out of the sort of main view of everybody. I'm gonna Synphonie sort of settles down. She's got a little sort of beaded purse hanging from her sort of waist, and she pulls out. It looks like a little bird skull almost, and she sort of cradles it very carefully in her hands, like she's using it to help sort of like calm herself or sort of focusing on this little bird skull. Her eyes shut, and then when they open again, it's just the whites of her eyes visible. It's really quite creepy looking, I think. I'm gonna use my sense to see if I can like see anything weird and funky going on.
Okay, this sounds good, and it's a small window of opportunity here. So, your sense is gilded. You have 2 dice in there. You can increase your dice pool should you wish by spending some of your drives.
I will actually spend one of my drive points. That'll give me 3 dice. So
Okay, 3 dice. One of them will be your gilded dice. You rolled 1 dice.
see if I can remember how to do this.
That's okay.
Uh,
You've got a 4 so far, which is good. It's a partial success, but can you get that? Get that 6. Or has
hang
Eva
on, I've
stolen
added
them all?
some dice that I did wrong.
Okay, just clear it. Give us another roll. Okay, so we'll keep that. I mean, that's quite nice. So again, partial success if you choose the 5 or the 4, but it makes sense for you to choose the 5, which is the gilded dice, because that will restore one of your
Oh, that's
drives.
definitely what I want to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so with a partial success, I'm going to say this because you've put other things in place as well, is it is at that last moment that you sort of go, right, oh, it's setting off, okay, go behind the crates, getting out your paraphernalia and beginning to really focus, your eyes do it, and it's just too late. You do sense something. There is the remnant of bleed that was on this wagon, quite possibly um, a taint left there. Whatever they were taking probably has bleed and has gone into the lighthouse. So you're certain there is something more than mundane here about this wagon and about what is going on. But because it's not a whole success, you're not sure exactly what. Means that you can potentially investigate the lighthouse or wait for Knox to come back and head to the warehouse instead, or wherever location it is.
So, having done whatever it is that Synphonie does when she goes into this sort of strange state, she blinks. She looks normal again. Her eyes are normal again, but she looks very frustrated. There's something strange going on, but I was too slow. The wagon had gone, but yeah, it was like red, sticky bleed traces. It does kind of look like blood to me. That might be just coincidence, but there's something about that wagon. They maybe took something to the lighthouse already, or I don't know if you want to go and look there, or whether you should wait for that young person with the short haircut and the strange tattoo to come back. I don't know. What do you want to do?
First of all, I mean, don't beat yourself up for having missed something. They've got quite a head start on us. I think that was brilliant what you did.
Yeah, I just hope that Knox will be okay if there's still bleed on that wagon.
Knox is a tough one.
Oh,
Doesn't
good.
look like much. Looks like a stiff breeze would blow him over too, but nah,
One
they'll be
would
good.
say the look of the devil has Knox. Perfect. So your investigations going well, noticing a strange supplier and attaching it to some kind of supernatural phenomena. Getting your very best urchin to secrete themselves upon there to follow it perfectly. That's all part of that role. We don't have to worry about that. It was a success that you got, a critical success. So you're going to get that information. So I think that is the perfect point for us to take a short break. And when we return, Knox will be back and you can make a choice about what your next port of call is going to be. Thank you for watching, everybody. We're just going to take a 5-minute break for drinks and the like. Stay tuned. We'll be back in 5 minutes. If you're watching this on catch up, which of course you are because I'm pre-recording this, but I like to say it anyway, I'll put a timestamp so you can just zoom forward to when we re-begin Candela Obscura. Right, be back in 5. Hello, and we are back after our little bit of a break. Well, investigations are fully underway now as you have made your way down to the dock area of Hallow Harbour, going really to the main focal point, this new lighthouse refurbished as a restaurant. And there you uncovered the fact that there were some strange kind of unmarked wagon delivering supplies to the tower. You got a very fortuitous role finding one of your contacts, and they secreted themselves upon the wagon to basically follow it, report back to you as soon as they know where it has stopped. You have also managed to determine that whatever they were delivering was bleeding. There was a supernatural essence about it, and there's no real good supernatural bleed. Bleed is bad. Bleed leads to corruption and worse. So this is not something that you would associate with any kind of beneficial magics. This is bad news. So whilst you wait for opportunity to return, is there anything else that you would like to do, or are you just going to wait for opportunity to return and then act upon that information?
If there's like a menu posted outside the main entrance to the lighthouse, Mary definitely wants to have a look at it.
Perfect. And this is easy to do. There are actually people handing out flyers at the moment, the full marketing of this, and the inksmiths, those that do the printing, are not cheap. This is another indication that a large amount of bankroll has been behind this endeavour. You pick up a leaflet. There's no need to roll for this. They're literally giving them away, and you can't believe the prices. Really, they are very cheap for the amount of food that is on offer, and this is going to change the way that people eat around here. There are a lot of impoverished dock workers, and in many of the poorer districts as well. As I said, unemployment is rife. It's almost like they are giving these away. It's a few pennies for a large amount of meat in a flatbread. All different spices to be had. Can you give me some kind of... This is observant. One is assuming you're all looking at the leaflets, so I'm going to let you do this as a group action. I'm going to need a focus roll. So this is inspecting. You choose your best person to do it if you want, and you can throw drive dice to help them. You can only donate up to 1 dice, so if you're giving it to somebody else.
I have 1 focus, but no drives.
Well, I have 2 points in focus, so I'm quite happy to make a roll on that one.
Yep, okay.
Anybody got anything to add to it? Oh, I will spend 1 of my points on it then. I'll give it 3. It'll be 3 dice.
Perfect. Let us see what you can do here.
Join me in my satanic ritual.
I think that is a reference to the 3d6, not anything else.
Yes.
Okay, so for partial success, there needs to be something up with this. You can see if it's real meat, if it's proper beef or chicken or anything else, this makes no sense at all business wise that they're ever going to cover the cost of materials, never mind cover the cost of the refurbishment and get back into profit. You kind of instinctively do the mathematics with this. Either he's an incredibly inept business person, or there's most definitely some other angle to this. Could be money laundering, could be many other things, but there's something rotten here.
I'm not sure what's going on with this. I mean, I've never had to really want for coins and money, but this is so cheap. It smells worse than a week-old whale on the shore.
I suggest if we do go in and order something, maybe not try and eat it.
The thing is sorry, I don't know if I made myself clear. The grand opening is actually going to be a week away, so it's not actually open at the moment. But they're getting prepared for it, doing advertising for it and the like. So yeah, it's not fully open at the moment. It looks like it's been properly constructed now. There might be the final sort of attention to detail in the decorations and the decor. Certainly they're getting all the supplies in, maybe staff training, but not fully
Can
open.
we see parts of the interior from the outside?
Oh yeah, I mean, this thing again is, magnificent. Full plate glass windows to give a panoramic view of both the ocean but also the ships. But on the ground floor, the first floor, and the second floor. So there's 3 floors, and then there is the light atop of it, which again is decorated with multicolored sort of glass, so that when it shines, it's going to be magnificent.
Perhaps we could try and talk to one of these good gentlemen or ladies that's handing out the flyers and see if they could, I don't know, tell us anything about their employer or something. I mean, I'm not necessarily the best one with words. Maybe, I don't know, Eva, maybe you'd be better at that. But if you could talk to them, I'm quite good with like body language and that sort of thing and getting a sense for whether people are telling the truth or not. Between us, we could maybe get some more information that way.
Hmm. That's exactly the sort of thing that I was going to do.
Excellent. It's nice when we're on the same page. So, who are we going to talk to?
Well,
Um,
there's some workers actually working, kind of putting the final touches to the decor. There's obviously the people handing out the leaflets. They are the easiest individuals to target, should you wish to.
the leafleteers would probably have more information about how things are going to be working than the people working on the actual building, I would guess. Um, shall I strike up a conversation?
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, and if you want to keep your own special pair of eyes on them as well, that would be great.
Yeah.
So
Mary will just loom in the background somewhere.
Okay.
not messing with any of us. Not letting anyone mess with any of us is what I meant. So I'd like to do a read roll.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay. I've got 1 and a gilded.
Okay.
And
I will spend one of my points because I have some drive points and that's to sort of add my assistance here. I say
Yeah.
I'm going for like the body language type things and that sort of thing as well.
So that's
cool.
fine. So you've got 1 cunning drive from Synphonie, and
Okay.
you're adding 1 of your own as well. So that is
Yes.
3 in total, 1 of which is a gilded dice.
Okay. Yes. There we go.
Okay, so I mean, it makes
I will.
sense. The gilded dice, yeah,
Yeah.
which is a 5, so partial success. You strike up a conversation. This is a youngish lad, relatively well dressed for this area, and he says, "Do you want a leaflet? Uh, it's got some times and prices on, and I think you get some money off or special offers. I don't read myself, but I've been told about it. I'm not going to get
Yes.
paid unless I hand all of these out."
Oh, well, absolutely. I tell you what, I'll tuck one away here, pretend that you never gave it to me, and I'll take another one.
Ah,
And I'll take one for my friend over here and one for my friend over here.
well, there's a big smile on his face as he starts just handing you all of them. I thought about chucking them in the sea, but I wasn't. I don't want to get into trouble. He's got
Yeah,
a
you,
bad
you,
temper.
you don't want to get caught from that man,
Oh,
what
do you
I
know him?
understand. I've never met him myself, but he's got quite a reputation. Have you met him?
Yeah, but well, he's a strange one. We don't. Well, we work for him, but we don't work for him. He just pulled a few of us off the street. Said he'd pay us if we hand out some of these. It's easy work and better than going hungry.
Um, I'd like to pull out a coin that will probably be about twice what he would have been given by Armand,
Okay. So
and say, um, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Arranger.
the arranger, yeah, it's one of those characters out of the Penny Dreadfuls, isn't it? Wears a mask,
I'm
sort
sure
of
that there must
got a
be
cloak that goes across the face, and
there must be an Arranger like that. But there's actually another Arranger here in New Fair,
really,
and yes,
they
she
must be super secret.
very secret,
That's
very
probably why I
important
haven't
to
heard
be
of them
secret.
then. They're obviously very good at doing their arranging secretly.
Indeed. Um, but if you could maybe give me a little bit of information, maybe the arranger could arrange to keep you in a little bit better nick than just doing this for a little bit of coin for a horrible person. Yeah,
Do they operate by themselves? Are they a lone arranger?
they're the head arranger of a rather large group.
All right, so they're not a lone
Safety in
arranger.
numbers. Yes.
Okay.
So can I entice you into telling me a little bit about this Armand character?
Well, the coins
Any,
was good enough for that, but yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Uh,
So, what time he comes and goes? Anything odd about him besides being angry all the time?
oh, it's not all the time. He has moments. It's just I've not caught him with any of those moments, but you hear things. Supposedly, he took someone off the pier. He kind of just
Recently.
yeah, just like he wasn't happy about the way that the sign. You see the sign. He said it wasn't right, and the person putting the sign up um, was saying, "Well, it's what you asked for," and that was it. It was just he snapped and he just and wow, splash. I mean, it was quite funny actually, but I mean, I was scared at the same time. But
Yeah.
it was
Oh,
okay. He sort of he said some foul words and then swam to shore.
oh,
But yeah, I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of him.
no, no. Yeah, you don't want to be working for him very much. Um, so he doesn't have any regular hours, anything in particular he comes to oversee himself?
Well, I'm only handing out leaflets, so I mean I don't know. He doesn't stay there, as far as I'm aware. It's not where he lives. I've been inside. It's all right, proper as well. It really
Yeah,
is. Nice padded seats and all. It's very very nice. Much better than well this area here. I mean I don't know anything about business, but I think he's got it wrong. But
does seem strange.
mm, mm.
Have you
Uh,
heard any whispers about that?
no, everybody's really happy it's here, apart from well, there's someone that runs a soup kitchen down the road, and well, they're not too happy about it. He reckons going to put him out of business. Um,
I, I believe it.
Best soup in the dock area. I mean, everybody likes soup, don't they? Takes less
Yeah,
effort to eat, and you can just slurp it down. You don't have to do any of that chewing. Most people haven't got teeth in this area, so soups. But another reason, all of the toothless masses that are here. Why do you do this with the meat and the chewing and the stuff when some people are not going to be able to do that? Maybe they'll do some sucking instead.
maybe so. Well, I tell you what, next time you want some coin, you ask around, find somebody who knows the arranger, and I'll see what I can do for you. Okay?
I will do. Sounds good. Um,
And then
well,
I'll
I
sidle up to
appreciate it.
Symphony and ask if she picked up on anything extra.
It's the same. So it's group action. The one thing that you are both, even you, Mary, because it's a group action, are aware of is he was telling the truth. He wasn't trying to hold anything back.
Mary would like to lean in and ask a single question: did Armand give you those clothes?
No, no, no. It's the first thing I did. You see, um, I mean, as a lad, I just had sackcloth, and the first thing I spent my coins on was not food. It was for bit of decent threads. You see, look at me. I'm coming up in the world now.
Yeah, good lad. And Mary gives him a clap on the shoulder.
Yeah, thank you. Do you know this master ranger?
I don't think I've ever heard of them, sorry.
No, they're supposed to be secret, and they're obviously very good at it because no one's ever heard of them.
Yeah, they're very good at it, I think, because I
Between
never heard of them.
between you and me, I've got no idea how I'm going to find them because no one knows about them. But it sounds a challenge, and I've got the clothes, got the
I'll bet they
attitude.
contact you.
Ah, I like that. Yeah, you're clever.
Thank you.
And then he kind of, oi, do you want a leaflet? And starts handing out leaflets left, right, and centre again, trying to get through his pile. Okay, so a little bit more information confirming his anger issues. But beyond that, he doesn't appear to, live or have a residence at this place. It's going to be his restaurant, his place of work. Do you want to move time forward for Knox, or is there anything else that you wanted to do before Knox
Yeah,
arrives?
I would suggest waiting for Knox before further delving into
Yeah, perfect.
possibly invading the lighthouse ourselves.
I was
Yeah.
just about to say, could we maybe try and scout out around it a bit? Are there any other entrances, or is it right on the edge of the water or anything like
Yeah,
that?
I mean the pier is big. The pier is quite big, and you had to move. I'm sure you've all seen piers with sort of stalls and sort of small arcades and everything else on that. And it's this size of pier. It's not just like this rickety narrow pier with this big lighthouse, but it's very prominent at the end of it. Um, there are people taking in the air, walking to the end of the pier, looking at the view and the ships, and there are workers moving up and down as well. So you could blend in without without causing, too much of a scene or being noticed should you wish to. Just blending in with plain sight. I wouldn't even ask for a roll for it unless you are actively trying to get into the property itself.
Not yet.
No, it was just a case of having a little, getting a bit more of an idea about what the nature of the building was. If there was another way in, sort of a tradesman's entrance as well as the main sort of fancy one.
Well, the one thing that you are most definitely aware of is there's no basement, it being a pier. You can literally see through the boardwalk, and it's that, I don't know if any of you get vertigo for it, but as you look through the narrow sort of gaps in the planks, and you can see the ocean beneath you as you kind of go out a fair distance into the drink, as it were.
Is the base of the lighthouse solid? Is the pier basically built out to it? Or is the lighthouse made of wood and built on the pier?
The lighthouse is actually on the pier itself. So it's not like a jetty that reads out to a rock that the lighthouse is on. It was probably just a small lighthouse for signalling ships coming in and out back in the day. Probably just not used anymore.
Can I see any ladders down there? Is it possible for like a small ship or like a sloop to moor and go up into the lighthouse from below?
That is a very good question. And because you've asked it, because you specifically asked it, I'm not going to make you make a roll for it because you're actively looking for this, and it's a sensible assumption. If it was hidden, I would say you would have to make a roll, but it's not hidden. So I'm going to say you've got the benefit of using your own wits to uncover that. And indeed, you can see there is what appears to be at the end of the pier itself. There are various struts that go down into the water, and one of those struts does have a ladder that sort of comes up, and then there seems to be a gantry that runs along to what would be a trap door into the underneath of the pier. There's no storage space beneath it, but certainly it could be accessed from the water. Well spotted there. As for the lighthouse proper, you can kind of look through the windows. You do see that most of the downstairs through the plate glass windows, you can see that it's got a central cooking area. So all of the cooking would be done kind of in front of the customers. And then around the edge of the lighthouse, there's all booths, so people can look out of the plate glass windows. You're not quite sure what the first and second floor are like, but you would assume fairly similar, but perhaps without the cooking area. But you do see that there is one area at the back of the pier which must be some kind of storage area or storeroom or something that doesn't have the plate glass, and that seems to be secured. It has shutters over the windows and then bars as well, as if it is very heavily locked up. There's no doorway into that, so it looks like all goods are received into the restaurant front, quite possibly when they are closed during the day. You can see the doors are partially ajar. People are coming in and out of it at the moment. Again, mainly these decorators that are putting the final sort of touches to it all. It's not like Fort Knox. It's not locked up, which kind of indicates to you perhaps they're not worried about anybody coming in and out, or maybe they've got certain protections.
So you said that the rear storage area was well locked up, but also that there wasn't even a door.
There's no door into it. The door into it is in the restaurant itself, but
Okay.
there are a couple of windows, but the windows are shuttered with bars on. You kind of figure that the trap door from down below probably goes into that storeroom as well. So now that you're here and walking around, pretending to take in the sea air, looking at the ships and checking out this place, is there anything that you want to do, sort of microscope down and focus in a little more, or are you just happy seeing what
Have
this
we,
layout is?
have we come far from where I last detected that trace of bleed on the wagon? Are we?
Yeah, you're right at the end of the pier. Um, so it's a relatively big distance, big enough to try and pick up a separate
That's
trace.
that's what I'm trying to think. I'm trying to see if we can pick up the trail again here.
You can
So
certainly try.
I am going to have another go at that then. I'm just going to be rolling the 2 dice at the moment, I think. How important do we think this is? Do I spend more dice on it? Or
I have
What
something
is?
I have
Is there a
something I can
certain?
do.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
Sorry.
So Eva first, then
Um,
we'll do Mary.
I have something separate that I can do if it all goes horribly wrong.
okay.
Okay. So Mary, what was you going to say?
Is there a certain range over which you can sense bleed energy?
Uh,
No.
it depends on the strength of the bleed, basically. So there's no hard and fast rules. If it makes sense and you roll a 6, then you're going to be successful. If it doesn't make sense and you roll a 6, then it's not going to be successful, sort of thing, really.
Does the pier extend, the walking area of the pier extend too close to the storeroom? Because then I will suggest that we try the sensing to do there.
I mean, it makes perfect sense as well because there's a huge plate glass
Yeah,
windows around here, apart from the storeroom area.
sounds
So
like
it
a good
gives you a
idea.
degree of cover as well.
Yeah. So we'll move around to that part of the building, and much like last time, she gets that sort of the little bird's skull again, and she's fiddling about with it and sort of rolling it around in her hands. And I'm going
Perfect.
to have a go at seeing what's going on with that. So I'll spend a point on it. So
Let us see how the dice roll.
And I'll make sure that my skirts are protecting you from view, at least on one side.
Okay.
Yeah, Mary will also make herself as broad as she can.
I kind of love this D6 system. Sometimes the dice are just with you, and other times they are most definitely against you. I've had games where nobody's rolling above a 3, and it's just like, this is really bad. And then other times like this, which is really good. Oh yes, you kind of, your eyes roll back into your head, and you take in a big breath of the sea air as you begin to sort of focus, and there is the same sort of bleed that you determined that was on the wagon. That trace is in that storeroom, and the actual cause of the bleed is in the storeroom.
it's here, and it's much stronger than it was back with the wagon. It's in that storeroom, whatever it is. I'm getting it's unpleasant. It's that strong. It's unpleasant. It's in there though. So I hope Knox is okay. If there's any of it at the other end of the wherever the wagons come from.
Well, if it's mostly in there, then sounds like he's probably safer than we are.
Mary
Well,
gives a quick rub on Symphonie's shoulder.
Thank you. Thank you.
well, while we're waiting for Knox, I can I would like to, after having observed this location at the end of the pier, to spend a cunning to ask, I can't imagine what it would be. Oh, Andy, you're going to slaughter me. What do I notice here that others do not see?
I'm going to slaughter you. So let's break this down again for the audience that might not be familiar with the rule set. You're playing as Slink, and you've got a special ability, haven't you? Called Scout. Is that what you're trying to use?
Yes.
If you have time to observe a location, you can spend one cunning, which is one of your drives, to ask a question. Sample questions is, what do I notice that others do not see? What in this place might be of use to us? What path should we follow? So you erase one of those drive markers, and what are you going to ask?
It's just sort of stuck in my head now. What do I notice that
It's fine.
others don't see?
It's fine. It's
Because I
also
think the path is pretty clear.
well, you probably notice what others don't see is that there is a large amount of seaweed and rust on the ladder that goes up and the gantry that goes underneath the lighthouse. None of that has been refurbished at all, which leads you to believe that it is disused. Maybe even that they are unaware of that. So it's one potential entry point to the storeroom that no one is aware of.
Excellent. So I'm going to point that out, especially to Mary. Do you
Yeah, we
think
should
that,
be able to either climb down or climb up from a boat if we can secure a boat, if we need
yeah,
to access the lighthouse
I think
without anyone noticing.
that would be a really good idea. And you look like the woman for the job.
Yeah, I got gear that will definitely help us overcome any slippery surfaces or, climbing.
So, I mean, that is what you notice. Still daytime at the moment. Are you going to attempt that in the day, or maybe put it into the back of your mind as a potential entry point and save it till later if need be?
Yeah, definitely want to talk to Opportunity Knox first.
Perfect.
Maybe
So,
we should come back when it's night time as well.
Yeah.
Sneaking about in the dark seems more sensible, doesn't it?
Yes.
so you retire from this area, head back, and at a specific rendezvous point that either you know this place for dead drops and the like that is relatively secure to have conversations with, you sit and you wait, and it takes you a good couple of hours that you pass, perhaps getting more familiar with each other. Um, but eventually, a familiar face does arrive, that of Opportunity Knox. And Knox says, Miss Eva, yeah, I found it. They more or less went straight back there. It's in the steel abandoned factory. I know how to find it again. I could take you there, but they've got some guards. I mean, they had some shotguns. It's not overly safe. They seemed to go inside, and I saw them go down a trap door to perhaps a basement or something. I couldn't get any closer.
Wow. That's really good, Knox. Thank you.
Well, you know where I am if you need me again.
Shall Mary, in Symphony, should we go have a quick look at this factory while we wait for night?
Yeah, sounds good. If we still have like most of the afternoon left,
Yeah.
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Scouting by daylight is
Sure.
always better than scouting by night.
Yeah.
So
And Knox, you see that little kid handing out leaflets right over there, the one with the dark hair?
yeah, he's got some nice clothes on. I might borrow
Yeah,
those from him.
he's no, he's quite proud of those. I said that he should look me up if he ever needs some more work, which I'm sure he will. So, and he has never heard of me, so he's not sure I exist. So keep an eye on him. He might be good.
You told us all to keep it secret. Need to know
Oh,
basis. But what you're telling me
absolutely.
is he needs to know.
Well, yeah, we need to keep growing the arrangement.
Why do I always have to look after the rookies?
Oh, because you're so good at it, Knox.
Well, anything for you, Miss Eva. Anything for you. But
You're too good to
I'll
me.
take you there first, and then I'll look after him.
Great, thanks.
So Knox leads you through the city. Sorry, it's not he. They.
Great.
Most definitely they. Um, they know the city incredibly well, and they take you down alleyways, gunnels, and the like, cutting down the time. Surely the wagon didn't come this way, and very rapidly you find yourself a block or two away from the abandoned factory itself, and Knox gives you it's time to be a little bit sort of quieter, and sort of moves through, and you can kind of points at this factory. It's got a factory yard, sort of chain linked fence. Um, it's a two-story factory, but you think it's only one floor, just has big machinery in there. Um, but it's in a very bad state of repair. The walls are smashed, derelict almost. The roof is corrugated iron that has rusted, and there are holes in there. And he says they went around through the back door, which they are more than happy to take you to. And they arrive there. And he goes, they basically say, "Is there anything else?"
Yeah. Could you arrange us like a small rowboat for tonight?
You got some coin? Not for me. I just need to grease the wheels, as it were.
I'll offer
Take
some
care of
money
it.
as well.
Great.
Done. Yeah. I'll get that for you all. Going fishing?
Thanks, Knox.
Yeah, just make sure that the oars are, wrapped in cloth. And around the dolly as well.
They sort of put their finger on their nose. Understood. And
Thanks.
they set off, leaving you alone here. It's now coming into sort of early evening. It's not dark yet. There's no light in this factory as far as you can see. It very much appears to be abandoned.
Well, any of us armed? And
I have a very
Eva,
large hat pin. Does that count as
it depends on how close you can get and where you put it. And Eva pulls out a little revolver from her skirts.
Mary just pulls what you thought was a stock out of the scabbard, and it just turns out to be a long wooden club with the end shaped like a stock.
Very nice.
and she basically nearly like a staff, just twirls it around in one hand and then grabs it two-handed and says, something like that will knock a few heads. Makes less sounds than a big booming stick.
Yeah. We just need to make sure to be on the opposite side of the big booming stick.
I don't know what worries me more. The prospect that we might need to stab somebody or club somebody, or that there might be more of whatever's causing that bleed in here. I think that worries me more, actually.
They're probably in the basement that Nox saw them go down into. That's why we don't see any movement or lights now.
Probably so.
So do you want to explore this first or wait for nighttime?
Oh, it can't be long to wait for nighttime.
The thing is that there's no light coming from this. The area is fairly quiet, so I'm not sure what waiting for nighttime would help with. I mean,
No, I meant going to the lighthouse first or do this first.
so
Oh, we are here, aren't we? We've
Yeah,
come
true.
from the lighthouse, and now here we are. We need to do something.
I will
Yes.
start looking for somewhere in the chain link fence that we can easily scrape by.
There's holes in it, and it's really easy for you to find access. You move under towards the back, and you can see the back door is plushed closed. There's a chain wrapped around the handle, and there's a padlock on it, but the padlock isn't closed. It's almost designed to look like it's been closed, but isn't.
Oh, now Synphonie, if you want to talk about not knowing what's worrying, an unclosed padlock that looks closed, that's worrying. If it was closed, I could open it. But this is a bit disturbing.
Yeah, could I read into this if it was like meant as a trap more than easy access to the people that need to be here?
You could certainly give. Well, what kind of roll would you like to make? It doesn't have to be something that would be the obvious thing. So, like for instance, I would easily accept survey off you, but equally as much hide, because that is kind of sleight of hand, or even read. So
I'll go for hide, and I think I will add a dice. I can use one of my drives.
yeah, perfect.
How much hide do you have?
Sorry, what?
How much hide do you have?
1.
I've got 2. Again, I don't want to tread on your toes for you doing it, but I do have an extra
Mary will
die.
happily yield to someone who has more experience with sneaky stuff.
Okay.
So
Very sneaky.
okay, make a roll. This is to see whether you think this is perhaps a trap or something else.
Do you still want to use my drive? Because I'm...
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Be great.
So you got 3 dice then?
Yep.
3. And I will again use one of my own because they have shotguns.
Very nice. 2 6s again. Critical success. So absolutely, this is an indication that they got suspicious, not necessarily because of Knox, but sort of bumping into Mary. Maybe they noticed that stick across your back was not as innocent, or so they're not actually expecting anybody as such, but they are on alert, and therefore they have kind of made it look like it's this, and if you're not careful you're going to cause it to jangle, and they're going to hear. The fact that the lights are off, but this chain is here, gives you an indication that there might be an ambush waiting in there, someone that is perhaps hiding, waiting, just in case there's anybody that followed the wagon or anything like that. Your suspicions are most definitely aroused. So that is what you get as a group.
Mary will whisper, should we chance it? We now know that they're expecting us, so we can surprise the surprise.
So critical success was knowing that this is actually
It's an
something that's
ambush.
going to try to hurt us.
Yeah.
Okay. So we need, to outthink them. So we need to not come in from here. What are the other entrances?
The roof.
The roof is not an entrance, but you did notice that there are holes in it, and that would certainly take people by surprise if you were quiet enough, moving across this corrugated, rusted metal roof. There is like the front entrance as well, and there's a couple of holes in the wall where it's collapsed somewhat. So you have options here, absolutely.
Have you seen my shoes? I have heels on. I can't go climbing up on the roof.
We could go for one of the holes in the wall. Just come in at a different place and then carefully try and locate where they are and just club them on the head.
Stick them with my hat pin.
I-
That sounds more likely than climbing across the roof.
And quite uncomfortable. If you don't mind taking the lead, I think that you probably have more skills in this, but I've got you covered.
Yeah, sure. I would
Okay.
like to use my navigation skills and try and find us the best and easily managed way in.
Okay. So would you like to maybe do a survey? Spot, search, track. Does that sound sensible, or is there something else that you had in mind?
Track would make sense because I can see if people have used that entrance or not.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not used, they will not expect us coming there. Would be my line of thought.
Sounds perfect. Now we are getting to the point of some critical roles here. Critical roles are where failures and partial successes will have substantially more weight behind them if they go wrong. So how do you want to do this? You know about dice pools now. This is your choice as a group.
Yeah, I have 2 regular dice in this.
Can I
no
ask
drive.
an actual question about how to play the game?
You can. I shall try and answer it.
So besides just trying to give a dice or something, I was thinking I could take a thread from the hem of my skirt and tie it very quietly around the chain, and then from a big distance make a noise with the chain.
Yeah. So mechanically,
help with the distract.
that is you giving a dice to help with that action.
Okay. So that wouldn't be a separate thing of me doing distract?
That would be the narrative as this action. Try and keep things as close and simple, so there's not multiple roles going on and adjudicating what happens. But if you wanted to do that and draw them towards the door, you could do that. But the point is, is that with the role that we're doing here, it's whether they are surprised or not. But you can certainly offer a dice with that cinematic if you wanted to.
Okay, if that suits you both. Okay.
There is a cat.
Not anymore.
And this is nerve.
No, this is survey, so intuition. That's where the
Oh,
drive
rats!
would
I don't
to
have
come.
any drives.
Oh
Damn it!
dear, that is not good. So no aid coming from you.
Cinematic aid.
Yeah, cinematic aid, absolutely. So it looks
So
like
it's just the two
just
dice.
the 2 dice, but the way you've all been rolling tonight.
Don't jinx it.
Look at
No
this,
jinx.
a 6 and a 1. You're absolutely fine. So this is a success. You spring the ambush, but you are in control of the ambush. This is going to give you a substantial chance of striking first. This is where things get interesting. So, did you want to jingle the chain and get them walking towards the back door? Is that the plan, with you kind of hidden out of the way somewhat? Perfect. Synphonie, whereabouts are you in this instance? You could have crept with Mary, or you could be with Eva or somewhere else. This is a group roll. It's a total success, so you get to place yourself wherever.
I think I would have been creeping along looking for one of those holes in the wall with my hat pin at the ready in case anybody should come nosing through just as I'm going to go and get ready to stab them.
Okay, perfect. And then Mary, it was your roll and your success. What would you done? Would you have climbed through and are standing behind one of them as they are going towards the door?
Yeah, definitely. I would have located them. First, see how many there are.
Okay, there are 2. One of them's going towards the door. The other one is going towards a hole in the wall, quite close by. You know that's where Synphonie is getting ready to strike.
I will definitely try and club that one from the back.
Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to ask for a strike from you. And we're going to say the same with you, Synphonie, unless you want to have this as a cinematic. And if you do have anything in nerve, Synphonie, you can give it to Mary to combine your roles.
No, I don't have any drive points in nerve to contribute to less on this one.
Okay then. So would you like to put all the eggs in one basket and have Mary make a roll, and that be success for you and Mary striking, or would you like to do a separate roll for yourself, Synphonie?
No, what do you think, Mary? I mean, I'm not that good at strike, so if you're good at it, I'm quite happy for you to sort of act cinematically for both of us.
I'm pretty good at it, and I also got plenty drive to
Well,
spend. So
you go for it then.
Eva?
I'll be rolling 4 dice. So
Eva, was you going to say something?
I was just going to say I have drive in nerve,
Did you
so
want
I could
to
offer the drive.
offer one? You're part of this experience as well, jangling the chain and getting them positioned. So Mary, it is all down to you. So you get an extra dice off Eva as well.
so it's 5 dice.
I will point out that these are carrying shotguns. So yeah, you've crept
Yeah,
through.
they're dangerous. So
Yeah. You've got the 6. That is all you needed.
yeah.
So this is your ambush is successful. This is what I like about this game. It makes combat fast, furious, and straightforward. And the success of the combat scene, I'm going to let you sort of talk out. Mary, you get to club one of them, and they're smashed unconscious or worse. Synphonie, you get to stab one of them with the hat pin, wherever you want. I'm not going to describe the scene for you. This is your narrative, your characters. How do you take these two guards out?
I
We'll
think,
start with you,
sorry.
Synphonie, then. You started
Yeah,
talking
I
first.
think having some sort of, I don't know, I would say book smarts, that kind of thing. I know a little bit about anatomy, maybe. And jabbed him behind the ear or something with the hat pin into something.
All right. That's it. I mean, it's one strike and out. As Synphonie. Are you back?
I'm back.
Yeah, that's cool. You stab him behind the ear, and
Mm.
is that it? You stab him behind the
Stabbing behind the ear. There's probably an unpleasant, sickening crunch, you know, and stabbing through some little thin bit of bone,
yeah.
though,
And
pulling out the hat pin, bloody, and
this was a strike to kill as well, I'm assuming, from the sounds of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Perfect. Which is interesting psychologically for your character, that's all. No, it's just like a little hole sort of going in and comes out. And for one moment he looks at you and then looks at you again, and he doesn't really know what as, and then there's just a sickening crash. The other one sort of begins to turn, looking at whatever afflicted his companion. And Mary, how do you deal with this one?
Because he at the last moment turns his head instead of knocking him unconscious, the big club will actually hit him on the side of the head where the bone is also weak and just send splinters of bone into his brain, and he will also drop dead. If he
Okay.
hadn't turned his head, it would have been fine and probably would wake up with a major headache like the next day. But yeah, he had to turn his head.
You're saying it's all my fault, that horrible scene. Fair enough. I'll take that. And yeah, very rapidly, Eva, you come in. You have dealt with this.
I come dashing in with my gun pulled, ready to,
Yeah.
shoot whoever's still up. And
because
wow.
a huge success with the ambush, huge success with taking them out. No noise has been made. Perfect. And this was definitely an ambush, and they had shotguns. They were most likely going to try and kill whoever was following them.
Which is why Mary doesn't regret that after she checks if they're alive or not. She has no regrets at all. She just steps over them. And not quite sure what to do with the shotguns, though. Anyone want to have one? Or if not, I will try and disable them so they can't be used.
As you...
I'll take one for while we're inside, at least.
Yeah. So you pick one of those. As you try and disable the other one, you notice something strange. It's like a double-barreled shotgun from the turn of the century. Something that quite often is used, but you see that they've been cut down. These are most definitely sawn off shotguns. Both the barrels have been cut, but also the stock somewhat, and they've got straps to be able to have them underneath a long coat. That isn't what is odd with them, though. It's the cartridges. The cartridges are, you would say, bespoke. There are two in the barrels of both shotguns, and in their pockets you notice that there are just another two. As you sort of dismantle the shotguns and take them out, you could swear that they feel hot to the touch. It's just like you kind of almost, and then you realize they almost burnt you, but it wasn't hot. They're actually freezing cold.
I will pick one up with some cloth I found somewhere and hold my hand out to Synphonie and ask her, like, does this feel weird to you? You don't need to go, full out bleed research, but, what do you sense out of this?
Well, Synphonie's still looking a bit pale, having killed the guy with the hat pin. And maybe get the impression maybe the first time she's actually killed somebody, even though the knowledge was in there somewhere. It's different between like theoretical and doing the thing. But she's going to try and focus on this shell. I'm going to pick up the hem of my skirt to get hold of this thing as I take it from Mary to try and examine it. Can I detect any like bleed coming off this? Does it feel cold to me as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
You
So
can find
I will roll some dice for that then.
it. Okay. 6 again, and gilded this time. Well, this is how the game can play sometimes with all of these 6s. I'm sure the dice are not loaded, but brilliant. There is a lot of taint coming off these shotgun pellets, and from your understanding of it, a 6 is perfect. These have been crafted with some sort of occult ritual, and it's the equivalent of if you were to stab someone with a icicle. It would do the damage, but the resultant thing would eventually melt, and you think these cartridges would just dissipate. Whatever chemical or bleed or supernatural constraint to construct them, they've designed to remove all evidence. There'll still be the massive wound, obviously, but no trace at all.
I will try and relay this information. Sometimes I think Synphonie finds it difficult to find the appropriate language to describe some of this like bleed phenomenon, but sort of try and explain. And again, out of a little beaded handbag, she pulls out. It looks like an empty perfume vial, fancy crystalline glass bottle with a stopper in the top. And I'm going to try and crack open the shell from the shotgun and decant whatever it was. And I'm going to say it's a bleed containment vial.
Perfect.
Well,
You
so
cross that off your equipment,
yeah.
and you contain one of those for study later.
Maybe also giving it as some evidence to Solomon later. So
Perfect.
If we need to.
Yeah. There's definitely sign, and these things would not be easy to create. It's you know the supernatural aspect is the small minority of the population. So someone with a lot of information, knowledge within the realms of supernatural occult would be needed. Um, whoever these people are, they are very well connected. And you've just murdered 2 of them. Well, I mean, sorry, you've just killed 2 of them. Well, you just murdered one of them. The other one turned his head by accident and got it in the side of his head.
Are both of the shotguns sawn off?
Yes.
Okay. I think that Eva would hold on to one of to check to see if she's got both cartridges in hers.
Yep. I mean, unless Mary took them out, the 2 cartridges are in there. It will fit normal standard cartridges as well. There's nothing special about the shotgun.
Yeah. So, but I'm going to hold on to them to see how long they take to do whatever
Mary
we're going to do.
Mary will give you all the cartridges that she found on the bodies and the one gun that we won't be taking. She will have handed one of the cartridges to Synphonie to dismantle, and we'll give the other one to you, and then basically spikes both of the barrel with rubbish that she can find.
Yeah.
And just throws it on like outside somewhere and shovels dirt over it.
It's easy enough for you to disable this thing so it's not functioning again. Okay, what is apparent in this warehouse is that it doesn't take much surfing to see that there is a trap door. It's quite large, metal. Most definitely looks like it has been used recently, leading downward. It's currently closed.
Is it locked?
Doesn't appear to be locked at all. It's just got one of those sort of hooks that is currently down, and you just need to flip it up to lift it up.
I will look at the other two and very softly whisper, "Are you ready?" I will lift up the hatch.
Is it very,
So I said, "Oh, you're gone again."
is it very dark in here? Can we?
It is dark. There is some of the scant light that is left of the day coming through the holes in this derelict factory, but there's no actual light.
Anybody have any torch or anything?
I probably have in my survival gear.
Yeah, if you, as an explorer, do you have survival gear? Yeah, that sounds perfectly sensible.
Yeah, I took excavation tools, survival gear, and a hand weapon. So
Yeah. Just so you know, you don't actually need to choose it until you need it. So you can choose
okay.
on an assignment. It's a very similar mechanic to Blades in the Dark, where you take loads. You basically have access to all of that gear, and if you need it during your assignment, you just check it off, and you can do, according to this, up to 3. At least that is how I believe the rules work. So it makes sense. If you've got survival gear, you'd have a torch. You need light to survive, you know. So yeah, what does the torch look like? Is it a little gas lantern, or you wouldn't have a standard electric flashlight as yet?
No, it would definitely be some sort of lantern to check up on horses and wagons in the night. You won't use a torch near horses.
Yeah, perfect. So sort of soft glow of light brings you a degree of comfort. So it kind of lights up the interior of this this factory now. And it is derelict and abandoned. There are big twisted machines that are rusted and look like they don't function anymore. This hasn't been used in a very long time. It's dirty, dusty, spider webs, grease. No, nothing's going on up here.
Yeah, so I will light the lantern, offer it up to anyone because I probably need both hands to lift the hatch up.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take the lantern so that you can work on opening the hatch up.
So you lift up the hatch. It moves relatively easily. It is like this has been frequently used and it has been oiled. The hinges don't even make a noise, and you see there's a small flight of stone stairs going down into what would be a sub-basement. It's not particularly large, only about 5 foot from floor to ceiling, and there's a lot of conduits, pipes, cables all down here. The underfloor gubbins of the factory that once was. There probably is a number of generators down here as well. But with the lantern, it's fairly easy to see where these individuals have descended down and moved around. You follow it, having to stoop somewhat, until you come to a wall where there is a wooden door. It's only 5 foot by about 4 foot, and it kind of looks like it's been put in recently. It looks like the wall itself has been smashed in to the next chamber, and the door has been constructed here.
Are there any gaps where we can listen to see if there's anything on the other side?
It fits relatively snugly, but you can certainly attempt to see if you can hear anything. The door itself doesn't look like it is either locked or, in any way other thing than just a portal. But if you want to give me a survey roll, I guess.
Yeah, I can do that.
Partial success. So you don't overly hear anything, but you do notice that quite large crates have probably come through this. There's a number of scuffs on the side of the door as they've struggled to get through. Unsurprisingly, the size of the crates you would imagine are about the size of the crates of the man who was carrying them, who bumped into you. Most definitely, you are on the right track here.
Were the two people that we killed upstairs? Did we recognize them as the man carrying the crate and the driver of the wagon?
You're going to have to go back and have a proper look. I mean, you didn't really spend a lot of time sort of looking at them. It was dark before you lit the lantern. You sort of dealt with them, was concentrating on their weapons. It's only 2 minutes, but you could go and have a proper look if you wanted to.
Yeah, I would definitely want to make sure if these are the two
Okay.
people that we saw outside
So
the lighthouse.
quickly moving back with your lantern, you sort of do the grisly thing of moving the body over, sort of basically got kind of a sort of a woolen hat on that's kind of pulled down a little bit, a big coat that the shotgun was hidden under, and a big scarf. So you kind of have to sort of just move it all out of the way. Shine the lantern down. The light is getting sort of lower now, and absolutely one of them is definitely the one that you bumped into. We will say it's the one that Synphonie stabbed behind the ear, because it's easier to recognize. You also notice something else. Now, as death has taken him and all the signs of death are beginning to establish in themselves, the emptying of the bowels and everything else, his tongue has somewhat swollen a little bit more and is lolling outside of his mouth, and you notice something on the underside of his tongue. There's a discoloration of sorts.
I will try and pull the tongue out a bit more and get a good look at it.
Okay. A
Mary
grisly,
apparently has no qualms about touching dead things.
yeah, grisly task, but again, your narrative, you do it, and yeah, it's strange. You see tattooed on the underside of the tongue, must have been incredibly painful to have done, is a strange sigil.
Having gone, I assume, with Mary for the
Yeah,
couple
yeah,
of minutes it would have taken, can I use my focus to see if I can recall seeing this symbol in any of like the arcane tomes that Solomon might have helped me get access to?
absolutely. Please do.
Okay, then I will spend a point of my drive on this as well. So how do I clear the dice rolls on the dice roll?
I
There
think
should be a clear on the right side
right-hand
of the
side.
dice.
Got it.
Hmm, 5 partial success.
Or the
Okay.
4 for the gilded.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
take
I'm
the
going to
4.
take the gilded one to get my point of drive back, as it doesn't make any difference.
No, just to clarify, a 4 and a 5 count as the same thing. But we're getting into Call of Cthulhu-esque kind of area here. So successes, partial or not, sometimes carry a degree of weight. And you do recognize the symbol. Again, it takes someone of great skill and of, well, certainly money. The preparation of the inks is foul, terrifyingly foul. Various substances that make you shiver, and as you do, you take a mark to your brain. And I love the way you've just disappeared again as that happens. It's like, no, I flee. But yeah, this is occult powers at the very worst, ritually tattooed to allow speech over distance, a way of communicating by simply whispering and the voice being carried to the one that has empowered this magic.
So this is a point of brain.
Yeah,
I'm going to say injury, not bleed. So
not bleed.
brain,
No, no.
right. I have an ability that involves bleed, so it's not.
Sorry. Bleed is taking full-on corruption.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
just a little bit of sanity loss.
So Symphony sort of staggers backwards, and literally staggers backwards when she examines this symbol, and she sort of starts to tremble as she looks at it. She sort of gibbers a bit as she's trying to describe what sort of the rituals involved in this. And just shakes her head and just keeps backing away, back towards that trap door. I don't want to be near it.
Mary immediately steps up, let go of the tongue, and starts hugging you, like trying to calm you down.
I think it will work. Symphony's feeling, I say, quite vulnerable at the moment, so the hug is very much welcome. So she does sort of manage to get control of herself a little bit more, but it's quiet as we go back down, I assume.
Yeah.
And I'll be saying, it's okay. You've got both of us here. It's all right. He's dead. He can't say anything. You're being very helpful. This is all news to me, at least. You're doing a great job. It's okay.
Yeah, I would have been amongst all the sort of frantic chattering about this, trying to explain what the spell did as well.
Yeah.
And did we want to see if the other one had the same mark as well? I'm not going to go and look, but one of you can go and look and see if it's the same mark.
Mary would definitely check it out.
Yeah.
She doesn't say much all the time, but she apparently gives great hugs.
Very cool. I like that. Yeah, you go. Your victim, face smashed in onto one side, and a little bit of grisly graphics will say that broken sort of jaw sort of hanging loose. But you sort of check, and yeah, again, there is this blasphemous, this unspeakable sigil underneath the tongue. You're up against not just dark forces, but dark forces with a lot of money. But perhaps you knew that already.
Let's go back and see what's behind that weird door.
Okay.
Are you?
Sorry, Eva.
I was just going to say, are you up for it, Symphony?
She doesn't actually say a lot, but she nods vigorously and sort of, well, steady herself with it, whichever one or both of you are there, it's to like almost like wanting to hold a hand kind of situation. Yeah.
You easily, it's only a couple of minutes back down and under, and it makes you wonder what you're going to encounter next. You open the door and almost vertigo washes over you all immediately, as you did not expect the sight that was before you. As you open the door, you see that there is a large sort of vaulted area, dropping down maybe 30-40 feet, There is a small platform, wooden, rickety, in front of the door that you've just opened, and a very old staircase, if you can call it that, that is planks of wood that have been fitted into the wall, winding down the side of this vaulted area. You compose yourselves, and you can see you're probably in the dark here, but down at the bottom in this vaulted chamber, you can see that there are a number of workbenches, on top of which are large amounts of alchemical equipment, and there's two individuals that are pottering around here. The area below you is lit, but the range of the light isn't quite reaching you, so they are completely oblivious to your actions of opening up the door. But this vaulted area, this architecture, is old fare. This is maybe one of the entrances to the Undercity, the city that New Fair is built upon.
Can I see any other doors leading away?
No, you can see that down in the chamber there are recesses leading off maybe into the darkness, but this is 30-40 feet beneath you. Your feeling is they probably don't go back up to the city above, but perhaps wind down to the city below.
I will motion to the other two to move back and silently close the door again so we can discuss our next movement.
You do that and you can have a conversation, absolutely.
Wow.
So,
what
do
do you
we want
think? I
to?
mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
if we target Armand and go straight tonight to his restaurant, and we go for this back storage area, it looks like from what you said, Symphony, that we'll get hit in the face with the full blast of the bleed. Maybe we'd find out more down here? What do you think?
I think so. Can I see if I can detect that bleed coming from down there, or is it too far away for me at the moment?
Well, are you going to try? Are you going to breathe in and try and open yourself up to the bleed?
I think so, yes.
Okay, well, this is a critical roll again at the moment, so what roll would you like to try and make?
It's going to be sense again.
Okay.
It's got to be sense again. I'm going to spend 2 points of my drive on it. So
Perfect.
oh, nice.
I wish I had something to give you.
Sorry, can't help you with sense.
Critical success again. Well,
Nice.
dear watchers, I mean, what can we say about this circle of Candela Obscura? If you have a problem, you just know who to call. It's these fine investigators here. You reach out with your mind, and it's very prevalent down there, but there's something more with your critical success. It's not only that it is there, but it is down there. It is being manufactured, not the bleed. The bleed is a result of what the thing is, but you sense that the combinations of whatever chemicals or alchemicals, whatever substances, abhorrent, horrible, unspeakable substances that are being used to concoct whatever that is causing this bleed. is most definitely down there.
I think with that level of success, Symphony does the whole strange to almost trance-like thing, and she finds it a bit difficult to come out of it, and her eyes stay sort of almost rolled back in her head, though she seems to be seeing all right somehow, but she doesn't quite seem to come out of it as she relates that it's the source is down there, and she's sort of still trembling a bit. This time it seems more like sort of nervous adrenaline-fueled trembling rather than the fear, just sort of shock. This is something else. This is.
Maybe we should check out the lighthouse. It should be dark now, by the nearly, and then report back to the doctor before we go down into this pit, because I think this might be a bit above our heads to explore this now. We might need more information or more people.
But I would definitely want to bring him these cartridges. This is something concrete we can show him before they dissolve. Are you sure that you want to go to the lighthouse tonight? Or are we just going to go have a look?
Yeah, just that's why I asked for the boat, so we can
Yes,
go out underneath
yes,
the pier and then
yes.
try and see if we can access that storeroom in that crate with, maybe the crate can give us an insight into what's being done here without us actually needing to go down here, because this seems to be a bit more dangerous than the lighthouse is to me at the moment.
Yes, yes. But also more interesting, you got to admit.
How much do we think Solomon believes anything we would tell him? I mean, it's like if we go back to him and say, seems to be the source of this bleed problem. Is he gonna say, well, go away and get me some evidence of it, or is he just would he send somebody down there to investigate himself?
I mean, a bit of both. He obviously trusts you to bring you into Candela Obscura. There is no doubt about that. You wouldn't be privy to this secret society. But you are the people he would send to go and deal with it. That is what you do now. So you are his circle. So you kind of, as much as you perhaps don't want to or realize that you are facing against unspeakable horrors, you know this is now what you do. But you do at least have a choice of how you do it.
Are there just the two guys down there?
There is just two that you saw.
Are either of you
they
two
look.
any good at shooting?
I was going to say they look very much more like they were wearing sort of white coats and dealing with the alchemical stuff, as far as you could sort of see.
Well, since they haven't seemed to have noticed us yet, then maybe just a status update and drop off the shotgun to Solomon. And then, yes, we don't want to let Knox down. Have him sitting in a rowboat that he's rented.
They've rented.
Have them sitting in a rowboat that they've rented or not for the whole night. Yeah. Shall we?
Yeah, so we go to the lighthouse first and see what's in that crate and then report to Solomon.
Sure.
If we go away, though, might there be more people here? Might somebody discover that we neutralised the two gentlemen upstairs, and we come back and there'd be more people here?
Good point.
Could we maybe make some kind of distraction? And yes, if we make a distraction, if I make a distraction, maybe could you two deal with the two white coats down there?
That would just give us more bodies to get rid of. What we could do is go out the back door and take those two bodies with us.
Yeah.
And just tie them to one of the piers struts below the lighthouse. Then they'll never be found.
These two people in the factory,
Yeah, the two that we killed.
taking them all the way to the lighthouse?
No, I basically Mary is suggesting that we leave those two downstairs.
That makes more sense.
To their business, just close the door and make it look like the two guys that we killed upstairs are chasing people that were trying to get into the back door of the factory.
Yeah.
You know, people that actually walked into the trap and then apparently were a bit tougher, and now they can't be found anywhere, neither can the guards. As long as we make the bodies go away from where they are now.
That makes sense, yeah.
Sure, we can drag them a few streets away.
I will start looking for something like a big hand cart or something that you can pile a few stones up and basically disguise the outline of bodies, just a tarpaulin over it, and make it look like it's a bunch of rubble.
Okay. So, Mary, you clean up the mess that was left, the bodies put upon a cart and covered, and you head back towards a rendezvous point with Knox. They are waiting for you patiently. A small rowboat. You're going to set off now. It's late. There is sort of ship's lanterns reflecting off the water, but the dock area is substantially quietened now. The lighthouse still is lit. No one seems to be working in there. The 3 floors are all closed up. Excuse me. But the lighthouse is on.
Yeah, I suggest we roll the bodies in a tarpaulin, tie them up with some rope, and load them in the rowboat, and then Mary will quietly with a cloth around the where the oars lock in the oarlocks.
Yeah.
And the oars wrap themselves as well, so we make it as least sound as possible.
Yeah, it sounds very much like you've done this before. And you take it out. You don't have far to row, and you can go underneath the pier as well, so you've got perfect cover. The pier isn't overly occupied at night. You dispose of the bodies in the most meaningful way you can. They no doubt becoming food for the fish. Then you come to these rusted steps, this ladder that goes up the strut, and sort of there's the large light at the top of the lighthouse, and it's cascading down, and through the gaps in the boardwalk you can kind of see light coming down. So you are hidden in shadow, but you do have a degree of light. It's almost as if Armand Boyd is helping you, leaving his light on.
Is it otherwise a clear night?
It's
Moonlit
relatively
night?
clear. There's a moon and the stars, but you are hidden by the structure of the pier. It is highly unlikely that you're going to get particularly noticed, especially if you are taking care. You can see that there is the ladder that goes up and this gantry that runs underneath the pier a short distance, and then another a ladder that goes up to the trap door in the bottom of this lighthouse. Where are you going?
Eva's going to pull out her burglary supplies, burglary equipment, and say, "Shall we?"
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
quietly clamber up the ladder across this gantry, and if any of you suffered from that strange vertigo of going on the pier, this is even worse. It's just a cross wire of metal, a lot of potential chance of slipping and falling into the drink. You carefully make your way along here. It's slippy, it's rusty, there's seaweed and algae. But
I would like to see if the gantry is able to hold our weight, and possibly if we have to move back with a crate, that too.
okay, that sounds good. Can you give me, I suppose this is either a focus or survey. Yeah, I think focus makes more sense.
Yeah, because it would be inspecting something. I only have the one die in it. If someone else has a better proficiency in that.
You can certainly suggest we better check it to make sure it's safe.
Yeah.
I will try and assist you with that one. Synphonie took off her shoes with the high heels and left them in the rowing boat before we started to climb, thinking it was a better bet. So now she's ruining her stockings instead.
Oh no.
But you know, stockings are better than
Shoes.
high heel shoes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm going to move along and carefully try to inspect each spot as I go to try and help Mary out.
So that's 2 dice. I have one myself and then one from Synphonie.
Just rolling all the sixes. So
My
you
lord.
realise this gantry is in a bad state of repair. It is though going to, if you're careful, which you have been with the success, you take your time, you equalize your weight along it as a group, even with you carrying a crate, you will be fine. And focusing and making sure that is the case, you easily make your way to the trapdoor underneath the storeroom of the lighthouse. It is now down to you, Eva.
Oh, it's like a statistical certainty I'm going to blow this one now.
Well, we'll see.
So,
Everybody's rolls have been hot tonight. Very, very good.
so I've got 2 in hide plus a gilded. So that's the gilded.
I can give you another point,
plus the
another die
regular.
as well.
Fabulous. And
Don't forget, there's also re-rolls with resistance.
Yeah.
If you fail, yeah.
There is, you can use your
Sure.
we've not even had to cover that rule yet because you've just been rolling not just sixes but double sixes and even triple sixes. So
I am going to give myself one of mine as well.
okay.
So,
I mean, this is an important roll. Partial success, but with the gilded dice, so you can get a drive back if you want to. Okay, so the complication is this was locked and you unlock it, but because it's wood and because it's been underneath this lighthouse with all of the damp, the wood has very much warped and it is stuck in place. So you can unlock it, but to get through it, you're going to make noise. You can't do this quietly.
So basically, you want me to? Does it move down? Are the hinges so that they
It's going to move
go down?
up into it.
Okay, so it needs pushing.
Yeah. I mean, the complication is it's going to take noise. You don't need to make a roll for it. It just means you have the choice now. Do you go through and make noise? Or do you go, well, no, we best not.
I'm up for going into this.
I think having come this far and navigated this difficult gantry and everything, to now change our minds would be a
Yeah.
bit much. So.
Are you looking down at your ripped stockings on your feet going, I've come this far?
I think between the ripped stockings and probably the dirt from the of old factory and the sort of stress and trauma I've undergone with this strange occult symbol, I probably look even more like I look more like an urchin than I did before. A well-dressed urchin,
I
but
mean, your
definitely.
wish has come true. You started the game saying, "Can I cosplay as an urchin?" and now you are. A day of an assignment, and you've completely changed your appearance. Okay, so like I said, it's a complication rather than you having to re-roll again. Um, you force this open, boom, 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 and it gives. It's made a fair amount of noise. You push it open. There's no light above you. You've brought your lantern with you that you've got, and you shine it in, and you clamber into what is now a fairly nicely and clean decorated storeroom. You can see that there is a set of doors that no doubt lead into the lighthouse proper. There are rows of shelves, and you see it. No need to make a roll for it. The crate that you bumped into earlier is kind of there, positioned, unmarked, just like the wagon that it came upon.
Do we want to open it here? Or do we want to take it like completely and open it somewhere safe at Solomon's house? I'm all up for the last one.
Yes, me too.
If we open it here, though, there might be something smaller inside that's easier and less conspicuous to transport.
Yeah, but then they would have put it in a smaller box as well.
There is that. Unless it's just a lot of whatever it is in there. Does it just seem like
That
a mundane storeroom otherwise? Is it just
Yeah,
supplies
yeah.
for the
You
restaurant?
see that there's various cleaning equipments kind of stored in one side, various other sort of items. Apart from this crate, it looks very much like a storeroom.
Yeah, let's just take the crate then.
is there anything that we could pry the crate open with
Well, you've
around the
got
storeroom?
thieves' tools, so yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You've got your burglar's equipment, haven't you?
Can I try giving it a little shake since we've already made some noise to see
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
can feel if it's one big thing or lots of little
So
things?
you kind of jiggle the crate as you do, and it very much sounds like there's a collection of bottles in there.
Synphonie's keen to
Ah,
keep well away from the crate. Having known that whatever it was, the source of it was in here, inside this room, and the things that we observed back at that warehouse. Yeah, you can jiggle it all you like, but yeah, I'm staying well away, almost like pressed cartoon against the wall, sort of out of the way.
well, so we have two options. One is an easy open the crate, take one bottle, because it sounds like bottles, or because obviously it's a threat and it's horrible, we take the whole crate and we remove all the danger, hopefully.
Yeah, that sounds good. It would at least, if this thing is evil and it's been carted to a restaurant,
I just
I
want to get out
think
of here.
I think the more time we buy the people going to eat here from not coming in touch with this bleed stuff would be better. I have no idea how long it takes to cook up a new batch, but taking a whole batch away from whatever this plan is sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a little bit of a struggle trying to get this out the way that you came, but because you succeeded on your previous rolls, you can do it. Just takes a little bit of time, and if this was a movie, there would be a couple of moments of jeopardy where you kind of maybe hear a bolt ping and come out, and the whole thing just shakes just that little bit. But you have succeeded, so you make your way out, down, and back into your rowing boat. From there, it's fairly straightforward for you to get to shore. Knox is waiting for you, and they say they'll make sure the boat gets back properly. And then you head to Dr. Solomon Sable's residence, no doubt. What is assuming that is what you are planning to do.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I think at some point in the journey, maybe rowing back to shore, I'd like to try and, I don't know, reflect on what the really unpleasant occult stuff might have been for. I know it was unpleasant and occult.
Okay, so
Focus or sense that fits best.
are you just trying to do this through the crate, or are you going to open it up and get a little bit closer?
I think I might actually try and take a little peek inside if the others don't stop me.
What about the other two of you?
I won't stop.
Nope, nothing in there.
Okay, so you open this up, and there are bottles. They're kind of the glass is sort of glazed red. There's a very expensive looking label upon it, and it says Armand Boyd's special sauce, and underneath it says putting sauce into sorcery. You take one of these bottles and you begin to concentrate upon it again. One assumes this is going to be your sense.
Yeah, I think so. I'll give it a couple. We must be getting close to the end of the session. I'm going to spend a couple of
This is again a critical one. You are
Yeah.
very close to what is causing this bleed. A failure now is not going to be good. A success will give you some answers. Of course, you got a
Nice
6.
one.
I mean, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't
Yeah.
you? I love narrative games, but I somehow feel that I should have just at the start of the session told you everything tonight. No, it's amazing to see. This is why I kind of want to use the dice roller, so you, the audience, can see what tremendous look this circle of Candela Obscura. That is brilliant. So yeah, you identify the fact that this source is literally the source of the bleed, but with your success of sensing beyond that, you begin to realize the corrupting nature of the substance itself. And this is designed to enflame. At first you think passions, but symphony, sin, that's what it's meant to inflame. If individuals consume this, if they have any vices, particularly the sins, the 7 deadly sins, this will inflame, exaggerate them. First subtly, but you feel that this substance is probably addictive. It's going to cause rampant disruption throughout the city to anybody that partakes with it. And for now, you have safely taken it away from this place, smuggled it safely back to Dr. Solomon Sable, so you can give him your full report, and you know the location of where it is being manufactured. All in all, a very, very successful investigation. Because the hour is running late. We are at the 3-hour mark. I think that is the perfect ending point for the moment, as you don't know who is payrolling this, what Armand Boyd is truly up to, but you've certainly stopped him for now. And maybe we will call upon this circle again to investigate even deeper into what is going on here. Well, that was brilliant. I love the setting. I really like the system. I like to think I like cooperative role-playing games. So the fact that you were just rolling the sixes, it kind of made my job easier. There's nothing worse than in an investigative type of scenario. It's like, oh, you failed to find that information, so the players just go around like headless chickens, kind of going, well, we don't know what's going on. So all those successes were absolutely brilliant and helped propel the story forward. I know it's late. I know some of us have to be up very, very early in the morning. So we'll get some final thoughts from everybody, both on the game, on the setting. So we'll start off with you, Liz.
I really enjoyed it. I do, as you say, I love how you get opportunity to work with the other characters and the freedom for like creativity rather than being restricted by it has to be this kind of role or that kind of role, or no, you have to have all your gear picked out in advance.
Yeah.
And I think I'd really love to play again and see how the characters could develop over the scope of a couple of games.
Yeah.
2 or 3 games, see what happens with them, because I know things like as you start taking marks for different things, there's some rules about maybe switching around points and things to reflect what happens to you.
Yeah.
And I started doing that bit of thought. So
well, what you're going to have to start doing is not rolling sixes all the time, so I can give you some more marks so you can start taking some things upon you. But no, thank you. And if you're watching and you liked what we did and you want us to do more, I think we certainly will. And obviously, Liz, you most definitely are welcome back at the table. Jocelyn.
Well, this is the third time I've played now, and I played through a very similar setup to this before, and so I know other directions it can go.
Mm-hmm.
And because Andy, you told me that you had changed some stuff, I played completely naive. And it's amazing how a different combination of skill sets and players makes for a completely different game.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were not rolling all sixes last time.
No. It was interesting.
Very, very different.
You got your 666 as well, and you're now, because I like to have little things like that. We'll bank opportunity, and they are your special super urchin now. Superstar that one day, no doubt, will want to take over your organization and murder you horribly. Sorry, did I say that out aloud? I know. Sorry, that was me just kind of foreshadowing.
No, but it's incredibly fun, and yeah, it's sort of the best parts of D&D, like you say, without getting too bogged down.
Yeah. No, I loved it, and I'm really pleased because I created an NPC that I really like the name of, and I wanted to use it. So, and the opportunity did indeed knock. So they appeared. Natascha.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. It moves just like Shadow Dark. It moves a lot faster, I have the feeling, than D&D. You're a lot less bogged down in rolling on each and everyone's turn during like combat situations and stuff. And the interaction with the other players, I have the idea, is also far more noticeable than in Dungeons and Dragons. The role playing overall is a lot more focused on role playing instead of min-maxing.
Yeah. And it's kind of strange because that's exactly what we're doing here. We are min-maxing because we're choosing the character that has the best skill, the most appropriate skill for the job. But you would do that anyway. But it feels more natural, if you know what I mean. It real feels like, wait there, you're the expert, so you do it and we'll help however we can. And it just feels fluid and the right way it should do. And I really like the fact that it's not like I'll do a perception check, and if you fail, oh no, well, I'll do a perception check then. It's like, no, you decide what you're doing, and that's it. You either succeed or fail on it. So it kind of feels like you want to succeed all of the time because you might well have missed something. I mean, you as a circle are never going to miss anything. Well, maybe, or
Talking about Circle, I think we should pick a name.
yeah, absolutely.
And I have, I can't get rid of Solomon's sixes at the moment.
Okay. I mean, that is fantastic. I am
Love it.
happy with that, absolutely, because the dice most definitely have told a story tonight. Fantastic. Well, I'm very pleased, and I say you are most definitely welcome back. I've got a lot of story to tell with this sort of urban supernatural is one of the things that I'm really like. So I'm more than happy to run for you all again, and it's been an absolute pleasure having you at my table. So please, if you are watching this, if you made it all the way through to the end, let us know what you think. Let us know if you want to see more. You can pop them down in the comments below, or come and join us on our Discord and chat to us there. But in the meantime, I think it's time for us all to say goodnight now and bye for now. And we'll see if Solomon's sixes return soon. Bye for now.
Bye bye.